Hello, algebra students. I wanted to definitely make sure we could get to the level where we were multiplying binomials, so multiplying groups, one group, two group, that each have two terms, one term, two terms, one term, two terms. Two things adding and subtracting. So we needed to get to the point where we were multiplying binomials that have a couple of minus signs around, because a lot of times as soon as negatives get involved, students start making mistakes. So we'll be real neat. Again, we'll make sure we start with our first term, 2z in this case, and we multiply it by every term in the second grouping, the z and the -5. So let's start with 2z times z. Well, there's only one coefficient, one number out front. It's a 2. But remember, when I'm multiplying together z and z, that's two factors of z, or two z's multiplying. So use exponents for repeated factors, z to the second power. Now, when I do 2z times the next factor, I'm going to read this as -5. Read pluses and minuses as positive and negative when you're multiplying. So 2z times -5, you can do 2 times -5 in your calculator if you need to, but it is -10. And then I was not just multiplying by 2, I was multiplying by 2z, so it will be -10z. And now I'm done passing out 2z, but I still have not a 7, guys, a -7. Take its sign with it. So -7 times z is -7z. And now passing it out to the second term in the next grouping, -7 times -5. Do it in your calculator if you need to, but a negative times a negative is a positive, and 7 times 5 is 35. Now remember, check these, guys. Anytime you're multiplying, check to make sure that there isn't some addition, subtraction I can do at the end. There aren't any like terms I can combine. And I see that there are in this case, because look, a z term and another z term. So remember, pick up the sign with it. That sign belongs to that. That is -10z. And there we have negative or -7z. Now I'm going to combine these. Now listen, I'm not multiplying now. So don't type -10 times -7. What am I doing right now? I'm combining, adding, subtracting. So when I type it into my calculator, yes, I'm going to type -10, just because when it's out front, you have to use plus or minus. But now that I have this minus in between these two numbers, I'm going to read that as -7. So type -10 minus 7 into your calculator, and you'll see that you get -17. A lot of you guys get mad at me, and you don't really have to understand that much about negatives for the GED, but I will tell you that it does make sense. If you have a bank account balance that starts at -$10, you're already in debt, and then you go and spend another 7, guess what? You're going down even more. You're in even more trouble. You're even more negative than you were before. And so I have -17. My balance isn't going to go somehow up if I spend more money. So -17, what though? I was adding and subtracting z's, and your variable doesn't change when you're adding, subtracting. Now, I had no more of these z squared terms, so I'll just see 2z squared here. And I have no other constant terms, plain old number terms, so I'll just see plus 35 there. And now, this is as simple as it's going to get. My final simplified expression here is 2z squared minus 17z plus 35. All right, you guys, that one was a little tricky, but you did great. Super proud of you. And you can see, once again, as I always say, know your GED calculator. It makes this whole thing a lot easier. All right, happy learning.